What's up, guys? Jamie here, and we're back for another episode of No Turning Back. This is episode 3 of 2.0, and I am with my co host.
Hey everybody, your ass man's reality here. Still kind of sick, getting over a cold, so I apologize if I sound like a frog or have a coughing fit in the middle of the broadcast. But Jamie's gonna handle the intro part here because I have to go get the link tweeted out so people know we're here. So yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about today for this episode is we're going to give a recap of the week, obviously, talk about what happened on Raw and NXT, and then we're going to give our Hell in a Cell predictions. And then maybe to ask you guys to ask us questions. And then, we might have a question of the day for you guys. But be sure to leave your questions down below for us and anything else that you want to see on No Turning Back. Also, we are going to. I hear myself. That's
Sorry
okay.
about
No,
that.
that's okay. I am going to leave all our links down below. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Raz's YouTube, and I'm also going to leave all the episodes of No Turning Back down below so you guys can go click that, especially the last one. Go comment on that, give it some views. And I also filmed my Undertaker reaction video, so you should go check that out too.
Yes, which I also guest starred on, which was really great. But the link is now in the chat, so we can now officially go and do all the good stuff to tell people we're here. So.
All right, so first starting off with Raw. Now, I'm going to say something first, but for a Raw, for it to, you know how, like, it was hyped and it was supposed to be very special? For a hyped up Raw, it really wasn't that great. I mean, it was awesome seeing Shawn Michaels. Of course, it was amazing seeing The Undertaker. It was great seeing Stone Cold, which, I love how it just worked out perfectly for me to film my reaction because I thought I would have to have like 3 hours of the event. But Undertaker started off Raw. I freaked out. I didn't know Stone Cold was going to introduce Undertaker. That was great. That was phenomenal.
Yeah,
although I kind of wish Stone Cold did more, but whatever. I mean, that's besides the point. Like, Stone Cold was on Raw, period. So, but anything you want to add before we go into more detail on Raw?
Well, I was just going to say that it was just great. And like you said, it was perfect timing because neither one of us expected Taker to kick off Raw. But the funny thing was, you know how different providers, I'm talking to the audience now, because obviously you do it after Monday, but you guys know how different providers have slightly different feeds. Like sometimes your feed can be like a minute or 30 seconds or something like that ahead of somebody. Well, my cable was ahead of Jamie's cable by like 30 seconds on Monday. So I'm listening to Austin cut his promo and I'm like, oh my God, because I heard him say that he was going to bring Taker out. And Jamie's like, what? What are you reacting to? And then she caught up to it. I just thought that was quite funny, you know?
Yeah, you gave me a heart attack, and I was like, what are you even talking about? And then Undertaker showed up, and I was like, oh, yep, heard the gong, and yeah. But what did you think of Raw altogether? Like, there were some really, really good parts, don't get me wrong. And, like, after starting off Raw like that, it's hard to, like, follow after that. It always should be towards the end so fans have something to look forward to and kind of have to stay on the show so that they can see later on.
Right, I 100%.
But go ahead, talk.
No, I just want to say, right, I agree 100% with that. That's what our reaction was, after the beautiful reaction that everybody saw was, okay, now what? Because it's like, what do they do with the main event? They made an interesting choice with the whole quote-unquote Shield reunion, but it was almost like one of those things where, for example, and I'll be very quick about this, but it's just the best example I can think of right now, partner, is when the streak ended. at WrestleMania 30. And then the whole year was supposed to be about Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan went on after the streak ended, but the energy was just sucked out of the crowd. That's why I'm not a big fan of big moments like that being so early in your card. Because it's like, how do you top that? How do you get the energy back? And to kick off with Austin, Taker, and Lesnar like that, that was just, I mean, I understand it from a logistical standpoint because the podcast happened right after Raw. But, from a crowd standpoint, it was like, now what?
Yeah, then now what after this? What else happened? Because you packed so much in the first hour that no one really cared about the end, and that's where your views dropped towards the end. And this is probably for a whole nother video, but like you can't rely on all those stars because when they all go, what are you going to do for the whole 3 hours of Raw?
Right, and that was my takeaway from Raw. That was exactly it. Is that they're relying so much on Austin, on Taker, on Michaels, on Flair. They're relying on that nostalgia factor to try and draw people in. You're supposed to be selling Hell in a Cell, and I'm not particularly sure that you did that.
No. Or you see all the Hell in a Cell matches, or I'm really sorry for interrupting you. I always do that. But there's always like the same matches that you see on Raw, and then those matches are on Hell in a Cell.
Right. Right. And I'm not sure if you haven't subscribed to the network already and weren't already planning to see Hell in the Cell, I'm not entirely sure that it's No Turning Back got sold to you. Or I mean, not No Turning Back, sorry. We're selling No Turning Back right now by tweeting out the link. That's why I said that. But Hell in the Cell got sold to you.
They could sell No Turning Back. That'd be fine with me.
I mean, you could sell No Turning Back. I'm like, oh, that'd be great.
Fine with me. Go for it. If you want to sell it, more views, more people will like. Fine with me. But go ahead with your point.
No, that was my point. Is that I just don't know how well you've sold. I mean, basically, you made up your decision weeks ago if you're going to watch this pay-per-view. And that go-home show, quote-unquote, to the pay-per-view did nothing for it, in my opinion.
No, not really. It just was like, I almost forgot that Hell in a Cell was that close. Because it was just some random special event that a bunch of wrestlers who aren't obviously going to be there at Hell in a Cell except for Undertaker. Obviously, it made sense for him to be on that Raw. And not that I don't love seeing Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels or whatever, but that, like you were pretty much saying, your point was, like, it totally took away from Hell in a Cell. Like, that's what you're supposed to be building towards.
Exactly.
Not
exactly.
I mean, 4 amazing wrestlers that were on the show. Or on Raw.
Right.
So.
All that being said, though, it was awesome to see Austin because he hadn't been live on Raw in about 4 or 5 years.
That's a while. So it was a nice treat, and it was also a nice treat to see Shawn Michaels. It was a nice treat to see all of them. So, and especially like, not that I don't love the other 3, but like for me, seeing Undertaker, like you never would have thought he'd be making so many appearances.
No, I mean you've talked about it before quite a bit. It's 4 matches this year, which is like unheard of.
I know. For Undertaker in 2015, who would have thought he'd be wrestling 4 times this year? He wrestled at Mexico, if none of you knew, which none of us saw because it was a house show.
Yeah,
still. Oh, and a total random side note, though, like who would thought that those 2 Brothers of Destruction would be even wrestling period together, but at a house show? Like Taker doesn't normally wrestle at other big shows, never mind just a plain old house show.
Exactly. So.
But I thought also I liked the segment between Lesnar and Undertaker, and when Undertaker takes his stuff off, stuff is about to go down, and he was just like, like bring it.
Oh, and I loved his promo too. I mean, we didn't talk about his promo. That's where your problem is, because Paul Heyman said you're going to face the man this Sunday who took everything from you. And then Taker responded by saying, that's where your problem is, because when you take everything from a man, that man is left to fight with nothing to lose. I mean, it gave me goosebumps.
Whenever he talks, it's just perfect.
They did a great job of hyping up the match, and I'm so excited to see the match. But at the same time, I'm so fearful because it is Undertaker, and it's like one wrong move from the most physical wrestler in the industry that is Brock Lesnar, and we could be in serious trouble.
I know. That's why I'm also really, really scared because if it was somebody else, I would be not as afraid because they would know how to not kill Undertaker in the ring. They wouldn't be as physical. Like, they would know how to take care of him in the ring. But with Lesnar, he's just always been, very, very, very physical. But I was still, if he wasn't facing Lesnar, like I was saying, I wouldn't be as scared because it wouldn't be Lesnar, and I still would be scared because it was a Hell in a Cell and that requires a lot of physical effort, obviously. But as long as the feud ends, which I mean, where would you even go after a Hell in a Cell?
Right.
But as long as the feud ends, I don't care. I mean, of course, I want Taker to win, but like,
well, they've said in all the promos, this is ending and all. They flat out said. So they couldn't do a fourth match unless it was like 3 years down the road or something.
I still wouldn't want to see it, to be quite honest. Like, I'm done. I'm so done with this feud. Not that I didn't enjoy SummerSlam, or not that I'm not enjoying seeing Undertaker, and not that I'm not excited to see Undertaker wrestle in a Hell in a Cell match in 2015. But I don't want to see the feud anymore. Right. For one, don't really like a billion rematches, but
well, I completely agree with you. But I think the second one did make sense though because the streak did end. So
right, no, I understand that part though. I
Yeah.
understand that part though about like revenging the streak, because that's what we all thought would happen after WrestleMania, but it didn't. And well, to be fair, Taker was really hurt too, but it made sense, but not really made sense because of the time, like a year and a half later. Sure. But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Go ahead, finish your sentence.
And I think that it was just one of those things where WWE probably, having spent time on the indie scene, I can kind of try to guess where writers' heads are at sometimes. And WWE probably was looking at this situation with Brock and thinking, okay, we really don't have anything to do with Brock until all the way to WrestleMania. So what else are we going to do with him besides more matches with Taker, and Taker's healthy enough to do it? So they probably created that quote-unquote controversial ending to the SummerSlam match on purpose, just to get one more match out of it. Whether we like it or not, it was probably a thing that was done out of necessity for both talents.
That's true. That is a fair point. But I do want to see the feud end, though. And I think it's more towards me not wanting to see it anymore because I don't want Undertaker to get seriously hurt. If it was a different wrestler, I mean, it would be kind of like a little bit of a different story because no one's as physical as Brock Lesnar. And I'm not bashing Lesnar, but I'm pretty sure he's injured everybody he's wrestled with. I mean, not that he's doing it on purpose, but...
Well, like I said, he's the most physical wrestler in the industry, period.
Yeah, I know, which that's why I didn't want him to face, period, because Undertaker got severely hurt at 30. But SummerSlam was a great match. Undertaker he wasn't injured at all, thankfully, just a bit banged up. And then hopefully this time, I don't want him to get hurt at all. I don't care if he's exhausted and tired as long as he doesn't get injured,
Yeah. And the decision to do a third match, the one thing it did do was create a very interesting ending at SummerSlam, like the quote unquote double victory like that. That was a very interesting way to book it.
Yep. So there really wasn't anything really else on Raw besides Shield, and
they did the whole temporary Shield reunion thing, which was great, and
it was nice to see the three of them together.
It was, and I loved the way that Rollins did it, with the acting like he was really into it, reaching out his hand, begging for the tag, and then boop, off the ring apron I go. So yeah,
it was very nice though to see all of them together.
Yeah, the only thing that would have made it better, like I talked to you about it, Old school fans are going to remember this more than the fans that have been around for 3 or 4 years. But way back in '02, when Shawn Michaels first came back from his back injury, they had a feud between him and Triple H because Triple H at the time was the only guy Michaels trusts to be in the ring with him because it's his best friend and he knows what he's doing and all that. So they had a part during the build up to the SummerSlam '02 match where they pretended like DX was going to reunite. And Triple H did the whole, let's get ready to suck it thing. And he turned around and pedigreed the crap out of Shawn Michaels. I would have liked have seen, Seth Rollins do something similar to that, where he goes backstage, he says something that makes Dean and Roman kind of think, whoa, maybe his head is in a different place. He gets them all psyched up. He comes out with his black Shield gear. They do the whole Shield music, and then, he lays them out again. I just think that would have been cooler.
That's what a lot of people were actually, not exactly what you said, but a lot of people were tweeting that's what it reminded them of from the past. But I think keeping them apart makes it more special when they do reunite. I wanted to point out, but
yeah,
you pretty much said everything. I would just be repeating things, so go ahead.
Right, but I do think eventually we will see a Shield match.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Everybody wants to see a Shield triple threat match. I think that will happen at some point.
I think that will happen at some point, but I don't think it should be so soon. I think they should wait because it'll only make it 10 times more special.
Right, I completely agree. So yeah, not much else to talk about with Raw. SmackDown had 2 really good matches. It had Tyler Breeze's debut on the main roster, which was great.
So hopefully that'll get some interest for SmackDown,
Yeah, and then it had the opening match between Seth and Cesaro, which just tore the house down. So if you didn't see that match, go back and see that match alone. I mean, Seth Rollins and Cesaro, what more do I need to say about that?
They're both extremely talented, so
yeah,
they should do more matches like that on the roster.
Yeah, more just unadvertised matches with 2 guys that aren't necessarily feuding, but because they're on TV and building toward a pay-per-view and their pay-per-view opponent's not there, just throw them in a match together and let them tear the house down.
You know what I think WWE should do? Just let go. Just try new things. You never know. I mean, you really don't have it. You're already losing views, so why not try?
Because, I mean, some people might say, well, it would be out of nowhere for him to suddenly be in the title picture, but Cesaro versus Rollins would be a heck of a feud. I would be
they're both. Well, obviously he's talented, but Cesaro is also very, very talented. So
yeah,
it'd be cool to see.
So yeah.
Oh, and I also would like to point out about Raw, which even though we kind of got off of that, is that I noticed that, well, obviously because of who is in the first hour, but Raw drew 3.6 million in the first hour, and then it just dropped in the last hour. It was 3.2 million in the last hour. So you could just see the interest just totally left after that hour of when, Undertaker and Stone Cold was on it. Just everyone totally lost interest.
Yeah. Well, and again, that goes back to what we were saying. It's kind of like the whole ice cream and cake thing. If you have your ice cream and your cake together all at once, then there's nothing to look forward to at the end of the party.
That is a very, very nice point that you just made there. So you would like to go to NXT?
Yeah, NXT was really cool this week. First thing I want to point out is that Apollo Crews, of course, was named #1 contender last week, and they're doing the exact same thing for him. They gave him a 3-part package showing his history the same way they did for Finn right before Finn won the title from Kevin Owens. So does that mean that Finn's reign will end in 2 weeks and then Finn goes to the main roster?
I just like to point out, I just started watching NXT. I think I watched it 4 weeks in a row, so I'm not totally caught up with everything, but I am enjoying it. I really, for some reason, I don't know why, really enjoyed this week.
Well, we just we both had things to do on Wednesday. So we just sat down and watched NXT right before we came on the air because it's a new thing for us. We have to watch it together. We can't watch it separate now. It just,
No, no, we
just,
can't.
just no.
I wouldn't know what
Yeah,
to do with myself when I watch NXT. But no, I really, really like
yeah,
NXT a lot. And
yeah. Well, what I was gonna say, the reason I brought it up is how we do it is because you said to me that went by so fast, and my answer was because NXT is good.
that's a good
That's
point.
what.
Even, you know how Raw, not Raw, you know how WWE had like other shows that were an hour and it felt like it was, I just didn't pay attention because it wasn't interesting. But this literally flew by. And I wish that's how they would treat like Raw and SmackDown. But what are you going to do? Just, I really like NXT. So,
Yeah, NXT is definitely the best thing going for sure. They had a great Alexa Bliss cut a great promo, and to build toward the feud with Bailey, which I enjoyed a lot, and I really like the Joe Tyler Breeze feud that they're setting up. I think that's going to be great. That'll probably be Tyler's last feud in NXT now, obviously after what happened on SmackDown, and I really enjoyed Baron Corbin versus Rhino. Like normally I don't like big guys feuding, but that was a very physical, very entertaining match. And then of course the big highlight, the surprise debut in WWE of Cowboy James Storm. The crowd went absolutely ape crap crazy for that. It was wonderful.
yeah. Yeah, that was fun. I really enjoyed seeing NXT. Like, I don't know why I enjoyed it so much this week. Not that the other weeks weren't good or the pay-per-view was good, but I mean, like, I was really mainly looking forward to the Iron Man match
Well,
with
you
Bayley
you
and
weren't
Sasha.
feeling you weren't feeling very well the night of Takeover either. So
That's true. I wasn't feeling well at all. But I did enjoy the Iron Man match though, so. But anyway, I enjoyed this match, not this match, this episode for some reason like a lot more than I did the other ones. I don't really know why. I mean, the pay-per-view was great too, but
yeah. So bottom line is to borrow a line from Stone Cold, since Stone Cold was on TV this week. The bottom line is because I said so. If you're not watching NXT, you are missing the best thing about the week.
you need to watch NXT.
Yeah, it was fantastic this week, and even on when they're not building toward a pay per view, like their next pay per view is in a month. So even when they're not building toward a pay per view, it's just entertaining week in and week out.
That's how Raw and SmackDown should be. And I know like not show can't be perfect, so you'll have your weeks where it's not the greatest show, but that's normal. But not every week it's supposed to be like horrible. Not that I don't love WWE or anything, but
Right,
would
right.
you like to go to the Hell in a Cell predictions
Yes, first ever predictions live here on the show.
live?
This should be fun because we both kind of got
Never
away
do
from
predictions.
predictions, but now we're making them together as part of one of the cornerstones of this show. So this should be fun.
Okay. I'm just gonna not do any order. I mean, then again, we don't really know
Yeah,
the
there's
order of
no
the
way to
pay-per-view,
predict
but
them.
I'm saying we're not doing anything in specific order. We're just naming off some of the matches. So I guess we'll start off with like not like they're horrible, but like the not as exciting matches. Well, I'll just name anything really. So what I see right now in front of my screen, the New Day versus the Dudley Boys. Who do you think is going to win this match?
I thought a lot about this, and I think, yeah, I has to go with the Dudleys. I think the Dudleys have to win the tag team championship here because, and I'm sorry, I accidentally pulled on my headphones there. So sorry if there was any like weird sound. But otherwise, why bring the Dudleys back?
That's true.
I mean, it just at this point you have to move forward with the angle, and I don't think you can move forward with the angle by having New Day win again. But at the
I
same but at the same time, I don't want New Day's momentum to be killed either.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, I agree with you, and I think that, but then, like, at the same time, I think that, like, New Day can't lose, because they're such on a momentum, and they're so funny, and, like, they're so great now. But then, like you said, the Dudley Boys, they can't just come back for nothing. So I feel like this match could really go either way, though.
Yeah, I really could. the one thing they were selling, I don't know if they're selling an injury or if it accidentally like legit happened, but after Xavier Woods went through the table on Raw, he wasn't on SmackDown. So he wasn't there with Big E and and
If it is legit,
and
if it is a
God,
legit
where's my
injury,
brain? Big E and Kofi. Sorry, God,
brain fart.
yeah, total brain fart.
Brain
Yeah,
fart.
yeah, he just wasn't there. So, and then they had a match, a non-title match with Roman and Dean. So, um, I don't know. It's a toss up.
It's a hard I think match to call because
But my
like
guts
I was
tell
saying it could go either way.
my guts tell me that at least though. What is your gut telling you?
Gosh, that's really hard. I think I don't. I have to agree with you on that, but it really could go either way, though. I think.
Yeah, this is a toss up in the night. I think, in my opinion.
Right.
So, match number 2.
Match number 2: Kevin Owens versus Ryback for the
Obviously,
Intercontinental Championship.
well, this is a no-brainer. Obviously, KO's got to retain the title. I mean, he just won it.
That's true.
So, and he has all the momentum in the world, and he's the champion that people are the most excited about right now. If you were to poll like the average fan, they're still marking the heck out of Kevin.
Right. I love Kevin Owens. I don't like Ryback, but like obviously Kevin Owens is going to win, like you said, because he just got the title, and I really wouldn't want to see Ryback with the title.
No,
No offense to anybody who likes him.
But the nice thing about what Owens does, he elevates whoever he's in the ring with. So I expect this to be a good match because the first one was a good match.
That's true. I mean, I'm excited to like see Kevin Owens on my screen, but like not really too thrilled and excited about the match, only because I don't like Ryback. But that doesn't mean that they won't have a good match or anything.
No, they'll have a solid match. It's just not going to be against our favorite person. That's all.
That's true. And it's not as interesting to me because I don't really like Ryback, but it still could very well be a great match. So,
yes, it could.
Next one. So, the U.S. Open Challenge, John Cena versus who?
Now, this is the most intriguing part of this entire pay-per-view because it's a well-known fact, unless you've been like on a dirt
Under a rock.
Yeah, that John Cena will be taking time off following Sunday.
So I think in a way it's predictable because Cena's probably obviously dropping the title, but to who?
That's what makes it so intriguing is who is going to be the next U.S. champion. Because the U.S. championship, because of John Cena, has been so elevated and is so relevant, and arguably more relevant than the Intercontinental title right now. I would love to see, and I've said this before, I would love to see Owens dispatch with Ryback quickly, 5 or 10 minutes. The match is done. Then Owens comes out, rubber match with Cena, unifies the mid-card titles. Because I don't think there needs to be a reason for 2 mid-card champions.
And I think the less titles you have, the more like, what's the word, special that those titles are, if that makes any sense. And that would be amazing for Kevin to go up against Cena because they had an amazing match before. So, yeah. But I also like Ziggler. People think it's Ziggler because that's the only person that's come out, but then that would be extremely predictable. I wouldn't mind Ziggler winning though because I love Dolph Ziggler and he's talented. But I hope they do something totally different than just bringing out somebody we've seen every week. Not that I don't love Ziggler, but still.
But the thing about Ziggler, though, what would make him a good choice is he would be the kind of guy that would be able to continue the U.S. Open Challenge if they wanted to continue that.
That is true. And like they've had such good matches when they've wrestled the two of them together. So
right. So Ziggler was my second name. Third name, even though he's in a pre-show match, which we'll get to when it comes up on Jamie's screen, but Cesaro would be my third choice. I would love.
I could see a lot of the mid-carders going for it, you know.
Yeah, because it is the higher end mid-card title. Talking about something like completely out of the box, though, maybe a return guy, maybe a guy with a particular chant that people really love to chant. You know, something with three letters and it goes like this in the air. You know,
Oh,
maybe that.
wait, I
Maybe
can't see you. Hold on.
she doesn't have me pulled up because she has the card pulled up. But maybe this going on.
Wait, do it again. Oh,
Yeah, maybe
gotcha.
Daniel Bryan, you know, is cleared, and because he never
Could you
lost
imagine
the
if he came back to do that? People would
yeah
flip their lid.
right because they never got to finish their SummerSlam feud that they were supposed to have, and also there was the fact that Daniel Bryan was never pinned for the IC title, and he was already going to be the guy to elevate the mid card and make the mid card relevant again. So it would be a perfect choice. But the question is WWE ever going to clear Daniel Bryan? But that would by far be the moment that people would talk about from that entire show. I mean, if Undertaker and Lesnar wasn't on this show already, and Daniel
That would be
Bryan,
like the main thing everybody would be talking
yeah,
about.
but so come Monday, all people are going to be talking about is Daniel Bryan.
Oh, can I just say I changed my mind about the match that we just talked about before. I think I could see the New Day winning.
Really? All right.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, next match, 6-man tag team match. Ziggler, Cesaro, and
Well,
Neville
okay. Well,
versus.
hold on one second. You didn't really talk about who your outside the box person was. Like, just name an outside the box person. Like, if they were just gonna just like surprise the heck out of everybody. Like Tyler Breeze would be another one, but he just
I
stayed.
don't really have anybody because we always like have the same thoughts on everything. To
Okay,
be honest.
so you would have said Daniel Bryan too
Yeah.
for that.
And I mean like, but mainly it's probably I really thought like it'd probably be someone from the like the mid card.
Right.
But
Well, who would you want to see? Because obviously, whoever wins this match is going to be U.S. champion.
well,
So
now that we've said Daniel Bryan, I really want to see Daniel Bryan,
right.
but
So,
probably obviously won't happen. So, oh gosh, I wouldn't mind any of the three that we mentioned because they're all so talented.
right. Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure you didn't have another name like in the back of your head or
No,
something.
I would have said something. I was just if I did, I would have waited for you to finish and then had that. But anyway, so 6-man tag team match: Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville versus Rusev, Sheamus, and Wade Barrett.
This is a pre-show match, so I'm not
Can
really.
I? Oh yeah, I probably won't watch it either. But can I just say that Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville together is like amazing, and they're both so talented. I
Well,
like the three of them together.
that's. I was just gonna say I'm not that invested in it because it's been the build-up, but I will watch it because of that what you just said. Those three together is just absolutely.
Oh, I never
Amazing.
really care for the like the pre-show matches, but like I really like those three, and the fact that they put them together, I like that a lot. But I don't really care for the other three. I mean, I kind of like Wade Barrett, but like I honestly don't care about the other three.
Well, I'm really intrigued by Rusev now because of the real life aspect. With Lana coming out, does Rusev stay healed? Do they try to force him face because people like Lana? Like I'm intrigued by that. But in my opinion, until Lana is healthy, because she's still healing from a broken wrist, so until she's ready to come back on the road, in my opinion, after Hell in a Cell, you need to pull Rusev the off the road and have him come back out of nowhere with Lana. Unless that's another possibility. And that just popped into my head. What if Rusev takes it back from John Cena because John Cena took it from him and Lana reunites with Rusev at home cell? That could be another thing that could happen.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love Lana. I can't wait till she comes back. She's my another one of my girls. Like you know
Yeah.
how much I love Natalia, but like Lana is also my
Yeah.
other girl.
Well, I love it when I don't necessarily like Rusev's gimmick because I just think he's a guy from the wrong time, but he's a really talented athlete, and I just love watching Lana, hearing Lana go.
And he's not bad for a big guy too.
When
So
yeah, and he's really not. He's very athletic, but when Lana says Rusev crush, I love it.
oh my god. That makes me
Yeah.
laugh. But you want to know something? Didn't he do like a flip? And he's a huge guy. Like, how do you even do that at that
Yeah,
weight?
he does. He does a lot of flips and
Like,
stuff.
how do you do that at that weight? Like, I can't even do that, and I don't weigh anywhere near what he weighs. Like, how do you
Right,
even do that?
right. Him and Kevin Owens are the
That's
same.
what I like. When big guys can just like be so athletic and do flips and everything, because you don't
Yeah,
see that. You normally
yeah,
see that with like the high flyers, you know, and they're not that they're 10 pounds, but they're normally like skinny and like have like 6-pack abs. You don't really see that with like wrestlers like him.
exactly. So I would like Rusev a lot more if they just weren't trying to type him and make him like an '80s
Or
style.
have some like soap opera drama in the middle of a wrestling ring with him
Right, right.
moving his flag around.
This is an opportunity to repackage Rusev and do Rusev right. So I hope whenever we see Rusev and Lana together, whether it's on in the solo, whenever it is, I hope that's when it happens.
Yes, I want to
So
see her back. I definitely want
yeah,
to see her
but as
back.
far as this match itself goes, I think you have to go with the faces here because they had this match on Raw and the heels won the match on Raw. So it's a rematch from Raw. Let it go the other way. Simple.
True. Yeah, I was gonna say probably them because just the three of them. I like them. That's my answer.
Yeah.
So next match. Do you want to save this one for last, or do you want to talk about it now?
We'll take her Lesnar. Yeah, that should be last. If that's what came
Um,
up. So
Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt, Hell in a Cell match.
this one is so hard to be so black
I
and white.
know. I like both of them too,
I
and
know. It's really hard to be black and white and blunt about it, but I'm gonna have to. Simple fact is, as much as I like Bray, as much as Bray needs to win,
I think
this,
Roman Reigns is gonna win.
this entire feud has been about Roman Reigns. So if Roman Reigns does not win to end the feud, then everything you've done for what feels like 6 months, but has been like 3 or 4, has been for nothing.
Right. I was gonna say
So
because if Bray Wyatt wins, that like opens up another door to have another match, and you know, like
no,
move on. They're both so talented. Don't get me wrong. I love Roman Reigns and I love Bray Wyatt. I love both of them very very much. But I think Roman Reigns is going to win
yeah, just
because if the other one, if Wyatt wins, it'll just open up, like I said, to continue the feud.
right. Let these two move on for Pete's sake. The only way you could justify a Bray Wyatt win would be if Dean Ambrose turns on Roman Reigns, and that's Roman Reigns' next feud, which would be kind of interesting, but I don't want to rehash of what Seth did.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Move on. New feuds. You know, I mean, this will still be a good match regardless, but still, you know.
This is the other match that's inside Hell in a Cell, so that's going to add another element to it, which should make it really entertaining. But
I'm sorry if you can hear that. My cat is scratching on the door.
she is.
Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that.
Wanda Cat
She
wants
to
to
get
be a
in.
guest star on No Turning Back.
Yeah, she does. So, WWE World Heavyweight Championship match: Seth Rollins versus Demon Kane. Two people that I also really adore.
Yeah, I like both of them. I really like what they did, and give all the credit in the world to this one right here because she sold me on the whole storyline. I hated it.
I just really like what they're doing to the both of them. Like, just, I don't really know how to explain it, but like the build to this, and like then Kane with the personality, you know, one minute he's this nice corporate person, and then he's just a demon Kane. And I like when he dragged Seth under the ring, and I just like the two, you know, together. But go ahead, whatever you were going to say.
Yeah, well, that's you basically just took the words out of my mouth. I like what they did. A lot of people said, well, they copied the whole Abyss Joseph Park thing from TNA, but you got to remember we're hardcore wrestling fans that are listening and watching to a show like this,
Or
and
internet fans, whatever you want to
and
call us.
and watching every show. Not a lot of wrestling fans are going to be watching TNA. They're not going to have a clue what that storyline is with Abyss Joseph Park when you mention it. They're not going to know what that storyline was. So for them, it was something fairly different that they've seen on screen. And, in my opinion, this is the end of Corporate Kane. Not just the end of him as director of operations, but like, what else are they going to do with Unmasked Kane once you bring back Masked Kane? So it's like, to me, this
And
is
like
the
the
end.
two of them together have always been about the corporate, and then this will probably end the feud with each other. But I think Seth is going to win.
Yeah, Seth will retain the title, but I give all the credit in the world to the way they booked this because they made it a lot more intriguing to watch, even though it's an obvious conclusion. It's a lot
Right.
more intriguing to watch than it should be.
Just because the storyline and the background to it, rather than like the outcome in the match, that's what also makes it interesting. And these two are entertaining anyway, especially Kane over here
I
makes me
think
crack up.
I think it needs to be a one-off feud, but I would not be surprised because of the whole end of Corporate Kane stipulation that they do set it up where now Demon Kane can just be completely unleashed on Rollins and they can do a rematch where it's like maybe it's a retirement stipulation for Kane, period.
Oh, I don't want to see Kane retire. He's like, not that I have a second favorite wrestler, but if I had to choose, probably Kane.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to see him retire.
I don't want to see him retire either, but I look at his landscape, what else can he do? So I would not be surprised if they decide to go with the second match. I don't want to see it though. But would I
Yeah,
be
I know. I'm like you. I'm not a fan of rematches. I mean, I know sometimes it happens, but
It
like,
depends on
you know,
how it's booked and who is involved.
that's true. But I've never been really a fan. But like when they've done it with Undertaker, with like Triple H, the way they like booked it and the way the match came, like I didn't care. Like before that, I was like, oh, I don't really want to see it for a third time. But then the way that they booked everything, I was totally fine with it.
Right.
So
But
depends how they do everything. But still, for the most part, not really that great of a fan of rematches. I know you can't have like, I mean, you could like have like a. Sometimes you have to have rematches. You can't have a fresh new feud every single day. But
right, and when a champion loses the title, it makes more sense because the champion gets a rematch clause when he loses the
no,
championship.
that's different though.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't really add much more to it. I think it'll be a good, solid match, but Seth's the obvious winner. So that leads us to the entire reason to watch this show. Let's be
Oh
honest.
no, one last match.
Oh, sorry.
The
My bad,
Divas.
folks. I forgot a match. The Divas Championship match, of course.
So Charlotte versus Nikki Bella. I'm not really that into it. I like Charlotte. I don't really like Nikki. But I mean, I've actually been more interested in the Divas than I have in the past. And Charlotte is going to win.
Right.
I mean, she just got the title. They're going to drop it off after all that.
No, Charlotte will retain, and I think they'll probably set it up to where Paige is the obvious next person to challenge Charlotte, or maybe Sasha, which would be great too.
Either way, because they're both freaking great. So.
Or maybe a triple threat match between all three of them, which would just be sick.
3 of them in the ring together.
That would be absolutely sick.
And the way they're going with both of those characters too.
Perfect. Yeah, but I know it's a little bit confusing because they can't decide if Paige is a heel, a face.
But I like that though. That makes it more interesting.
I was gonna say
like Corporate Kane and Demon Kane.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, some people are confused by it, but I actually enjoy it. I think it adds another element to Paige. I think she plays Crazy Chick a little bit better than AJ did, in my opinion. I'm enjoying it.
I am enjoying it too. So now you can say it, Raz.
Yeah, Taker, Lesnar, Hell in a Cell.
So,
I mean, we have to, if you're gonna say it like that. It's gonna be great. I mean, this is gonna be everything a Hell in a Cell match should be. This will feel like a Hell in a Cell match. It will remind you a lot, story
of
element
the olden
wise.
days, when they had this stuff. It's going to
Yeah,
be brutal. It is going to be hardcore.
yeah,
And, it's going to be brutal. It is going
yeah.
to be brutal.
And storyline wise and build up wise,
Makes sense.
it'll make it feel. It'll remind you a lot like end of an era at WrestleMania. So
Right. And it's a perfect way. Like, usually Hell in a Cell matches are, a way to end a feud. I mean, what better way to end a feud between these two? It's Undertaker's yard. Brock Lesnar's this big guy. He ended the streak. And it's what better way to end it in a Hell in a Cell?
yeah, I'm predicting 45 minutes to an hour for this match. I mean, it's going to be, because it's a fairly short card on paper. So it's going to be a very, very physical match. It's going to be a match.
I'm excited but scared at the same time.
Yeah. No matter what happens in the match itself, as far as winner and loser, it's going to be one of those matches that people talk about. Just like the first match, they're going to be talking about this match for another 10, 15 years.
Probably not as much as the streak ending, but yes, they'll probably be talking about this. And either way, though, whoever wins or lose, I feel like it would just, not affect either. You know what I mean? It won't affect them negatively.
No, it's not.
Go ahead.
It's not going to affect either one of them negatively, but because we do need a negative, or not a negative, sorry.
We need a winner, obviously.
A definitive, that's what I was trying to say, a definitive winner. It's got to be Taker, because Taker didn't have his definitive win over Brock yet.
Right. I feel like, with the streak ending, that gave Brock Lesnar that, obviously, he was the guy to be 21-1. But then, then SummerSlam match was, in the middle, both. But then, the outcome for finally Taker to actually beat Lesnar and to actually have at least a win, And then I honestly just, that it needs to end. We pretty much kind of talked about it at the beginning, but Undertaker.
It's one of those things where you're not going to be shocked if Brock goes over, but nobody really wants to see Brock go over at this point.
No. I want Undertaker to win, and I think he's going to win. Well, I just want him to win, but then I could also see Lesnar winning. But then at the same time, that kind of makes me a bit mad because, it just needs to end.
Yeah. So with that, unless you have anything to add, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week.
Pretty much. I don't know if everyone wants me to film my reaction, but I did film my reaction from last.
Well, it would be nice for you to
maybe I could live react to the whole match.
That would be nice, except I'd be afraid that you would get flagged because the audio would show up in the video because you'd be paying attention to.
Well, I could just turn the volume down on this. Oh, no, you can hear it as long as I have headphones in.
Yeah, because you're going to be watching through your laptop because you don't have a streaming device for your TV yet.
You know what? I could just plug the headphones in. You can't hear anything if I plug my headphones in.
But would you be able to stream both the network and a live show at the same time?
I'll see, but you guys should comment all down below on what you want to see.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hell in a Cell and what we should do on other No Turning Backs. And
we have predictions this week, so we have predictions this week, but next week we'll bring back, fan question of the week, Q&A. I think we're going to try to have our third, special guest on this show next week because we have somebody in mind that we've been talking about. So what we want to ask you, all of you, to close this out is we know we're getting some views, but the YouTube system is so broken right now. No, Jamie can't keep track of the real view count. I can't keep track of the real view count. So just if you're enjoying No Turning Back, if you like this kind of show where two wrestling friends and knowledgeable wrestling fans sit down every week and talk to each other. What it's now going to be on Saturdays, so more of you should be around to see it than it was on Fridays. That's one of the reasons we moved it. The other
And better lighting, and it won't be as rushed because we have the whole Saturday.
Yeah, and
you know.
so there we moved it because we were both kind of rushed because Jamie just gets home on Friday nights, and a lot of Fridays my Boston Bruins play on Fridays a lot. So it's it just works out better. So in a roundabout way, what I was trying to get out there in a very long ranted way was just help us spread the word about this show. We need to know.
Yes. Please subscribe to him. Subscribe to me. Look at all our social media links down below. Let everybody know that I'm back. Because they probably know Raz is making videos. But let everybody know about the show and let everybody know that I'm back. So
Exactly. Because No Turning Back is a Jamie Calloway channel, Rotisserie Jamie channel exclusive. Like I thought about at one point putting it on to Razman's Reality, but then we talked about it and then it would just be the same video on two channels. So it's
that's true.
it would be kind of echoing and not necessary. So yeah, that's it for us this week. Enjoy Hell in the Cell, guys.
Undertaker. See, look, he's right there. Hey, best friend. Just kidding. But I choose him, and you should comment down below, and we will see you later. Anything else before?
Well, just back next week with our reactions to the pay-per-view. We may not even do a review.
No, I think we'll just say certain points, what we thought, like your general overall, thoughts of the show. And then I also want to talk about, where does Undertaker go after this or whatever. But we'll figure that all out next week. So
yeah.
Anything else?
Well, we will see you guys next Saturday, and hope you enjoyed the show and spread the word and all that. And we're out of here.
Bye.